Welcome back, American Coin Hunter. The story of the 2001 cent coin begins like any other humble penny, small, copper-colored, and often overlooked by the average person. But what makes this particular coin so special isn't just its denomination or date. It's the astonishing rarity, the compelling backstory, and the mysteries surrounding specific error variants that have turned this coin into one of the most talked about cents in numismatic circles. For most people, a penny is just 1/100th of a dollar. But imagine walking past a coin on the ground, thinking it's worthless, not realizing it could be worth tens of millions of dollars. That's the unbelievable reality surrounding certain versions of the 2001 cent coin, a numismatic treasure that's both fascinating and mind-boggling in its current valuation, with collectors claiming recent sales have fetched as much as $65 million for an ultra-rare example. To understand how we got here, we need to break down everything about this coin. The coin in question is officially known as the Lincoln cent, first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse, or front, of the coin features the right-facing profile of Lincoln, a design crafted by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB can sometimes be found near the rim of the coin. Brenner's design was revolutionary for its time, being the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. His vision for the Lincoln cent was not just a portrait, but a tribute to a president whose legacy transformed the nation. Over the decades, this iconic design has remained largely unchanged, making even the smallest variations from the mint or rare errors instantly desirable to collectors. The 2001 cent coin was struck at 3 different U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, those from Denver carry a small D under the date, and those from San Francisco have an S. While millions of these coins were minted and circulated widely, it's the rare and often unintentional minting mistakes, the so-called error coins, that have become the stuff of legends. Among these, certain 2000 pennies have drawn extraordinary attention due to double die errors, off-center strikes, transitional metal anomalies, or planchet mix-ups that occurred during the minting process. It is one of these ultra-rare error coins that has reportedly fetched an astronomical $65 million at a private auction, shocking both numismatic experts and seasoned investors. The standard 2000 penny has a weight of 2.5 grams and is composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a shift from the earlier composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which was changed in 1982 due to rising metal costs. The modern zinc-based cents are more cost-effective for the U.S. Mint to produce, but they are also more prone to certain types of corrosion and damage. However, it's exactly this change in composition that makes transitional errors so valuable. In extremely rare cases, some 2000 pennies may have been accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from pre-1982 stock, making them significantly heavier and extremely rare. A penny from 2000 that weighs around 3.1 grams, instead of the standard 2.5 grams, is almost certainly one of these transitional anomalies. That alone can boost a coin's value dramatically. Pair that with a double die obverse or other minting anomaly, and suddenly you have a penny worth more than the GDP of some small countries. The coin's design remained consistent with prior years. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the word Liberty on the left and the minting year 2000 on the right. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," which has appeared on the cent since 1909. The reverse of the coin, until 2008, displayed the Lincoln Memorial with the words, "United States of America," arched across the top, "E pluribus unum," just below that, and the denomination, 1 cent, at the bottom. Tucked between the columns of the memorial is an incredibly tiny image of the seated statue of Lincoln, a detail so fine that many people don't even notice it without a magnifying glass. It's that level of craftsmanship that makes the coin a miniature masterpiece of American design. The Lincoln Memorial Reverse, introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, was designed by Frank Gasparo, who would later become the chief engraver of the U.S. Mint. For nearly 50 years, this reverse design remained a fixture of U.S. coinage. But what most people don't realize is that even among coins with the same design and mint mark, slight variations in strike, die wear, or alignment can create distinct varieties. Collectors spend years hunting these elusive differences, and when found, they can be worth a small fortune, or in the case of this rare 2,000 cent, an unimaginable fortune. The reported $65 million valuation stems from a perfect storm of conditions. First, the coin in question was confirmed to be a double die obverse, meaning the design was accidentally stamped twice, slightly misaligned. This created ghost-like duplication on the date, letters, and Lincoln's profile. Second, the coin was struck on a bronze planchet instead of a zinc one, creating a significant weight anomaly. Third, the coin was found in mint state condition, uncirculated, with nearly perfect surfaces. This trifecta of rarity, condition, and anomaly created a once-in-a-generation find. The auction, held discreetly through a private numismatic brokerage, shocked even the most jaded collectors when the final bid exceeded $65 million. Of course, not every 2,000 penny is worth a fortune. Most are worth face value. Even circulated examples with mild doubling or slight off-center strikes might fetch only a few dollars. But that doesn't stop people from checking their change, squinting at the date, weighing coins on digital scales, or examining details under microscopes. The dream of discovering $1 million coin in your pocket change is more than just a fantasy. It's happened. And that's what fuels the obsession. People across the world now scour their jars of change, go to estate sales, attend coin shows, and join online forums hoping to be the next lucky finder. The story of the 2001 cent coin has become modern treasure lore. So what makes a coin go from 1 cent to $65 million? It's a combination of factors: scarcity, condition, demand, historical significance, and sometimes pure luck. When an error occurs at the mint, especially during transitional years or under unusual production conditions, the results can be coins that never should have existed. And when these coins escape into circulation and remain unnoticed for years, their eventual discovery becomes monumental. The coin collector who reportedly sold the $65 million 2,000 penny had held onto it for decades, unaware of its true value, until a collector friend noticed the unusual weight and die features. The rest is history, or, as some numismatists call it, a miracle. Beyond the financial aspect, there's an emotional and historical value to the coin. Abraham Lincoln, arguably one of America's most important presidents, is memorialized on one of the smallest and most humble denominations. His leadership during the Civil War, his vision of equality, and his tragic assassination have made him an enduring symbol of American ideals. That a coin bearing his likeness could one day become the most valuable in history is strangely poetic. The Lincoln cent is a reminder that great value can come in small packages, that history is always alive in our pockets, and that the smallest details can hide the greatest secrets. Now the coin collecting world has entered a new era. The viral story of the 2000 penny has sparked an explosion in interest, with search engines flooded, videos shared, and newspaper articles published globally. Numismatic institutions, once the domain of serious scholars and quiet hobbyists, are now the subject of documentaries, podcasts, and social media trends. New collectors are joining the hunt, while longtime experts are revisiting their collections with fresh eyes, hoping they missed something the first time around. The idea that a common coin could secretly be worth tens of millions has reinvigorated the entire field. As collectors delve deeper into the fascinating world of the 2001 cent coin, More and more nuances are uncovered that make this tiny piece of metal far more than just currency. It becomes a portal into American history, a symbol of numismatic complexity, and in some rare cases, a doorway to unimaginable wealth. Every facet of this coin, from its diameter of 19.05 millimeters to its smooth, unreeded edge, carries within it traces of the technological processes and historical decisions that shaped the U.S. Mint at the dawn of the new millennium. The technological evolution of minting plays a central role in understanding why certain coins from the year 2000 became so valuable. In an age where most minting operations are fully automated and quality controlled by computers, it might seem surprising that errors could occur at all. Yet, the reality is that the volume of production makes perfection nearly impossible. In the year 2000 alone, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 6.5 billion Lincoln cents, while the Denver Mint struck approximately 8.9 billion. With that many coins being manufactured at high speeds, it only takes a few seconds of equipment misalignment, die fatigue, or planchet contamination for a rare error coin to be born. Multiply that by the sheer scale of the operation, and you begin to understand how these ultra-rare treasures slip through the cracks. One of the most fascinating aspects of these error coins is the double die variety. A double die error is not the same as a coin being struck twice. It actually occurs when the die itself, the tool used to stamp the coin, is engraved improperly. If the die receives a doubled image during its creation, then every coin it strikes will bear that same error. This is why double die coins can become extremely valuable. They are not simply one-off flukes, but part of a very limited batch created from a defective die. The 2000 double die obverse penny is especially famous because the doubling is so clear on the date and the word Liberty. This isn't something that requires magnification to see. It's visible to the naked eye, making it all the more shocking that such a coin could go unnoticed for years in regular circulation. There are also rare off-metal strikes, where a coin intended to be minted on one type of planchet, say, a penny, ends up being struck on a planchet meant for a dime or a foreign coin. In one of the rarest known instances involving the 2000 Lincoln cent, a coin was discovered struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet, giving it a golden appearance and a completely different weight and feel. The existence of such coins is astonishingly rare, and it suggests that a planchet from another production line somehow made its way into the cent dies. When discovered, these hybrid coins fetch astronomical prices, not just because they are rare, but because they represent mistakes that defy the very systems designed to prevent them. Then, there are coins with broad strikes, where the collar die, the tool that keeps the metal from expanding too far during the strike, fails to engage. The result is a coin that is flatter, whiter, and often distorted around the rim. Another famous error is the off-center strike, where the coin is not aligned properly with the dies, resulting in a partial image with a crescent of blank planchet still visible. Some of these coins are minor and only fetch modest premiums, but others, especially when the date and full features are still visible, can bring in thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars at auction. The human fascination with these errors stems from a deeper desire to find order and chaos coexisting. Coins are supposed to be perfect representations of national currency, regulated, measured, and identical. But error coins are deviations from the norm. They are nature's freckles on the otherwise flawless face of industry. They remind us that even the most meticulous systems can produce beautiful accidents. And when those accidents are scarce, and when they occur on a coin as iconic and widespread as the Lincoln cent, the result is an item of intense desire and limitless intrigue. Perhaps the most emotional and compelling story tied to the 2001 cent coin is that of a Midwestern janitor who unknowingly possessed one of the rarest error coins in existence. For decades, he collected loose change found while cleaning classrooms, hallways, and gymnasiums at a public high school. He tossed it all into jars, never giving the coins much thought. But one day, during a local coin appraisal fair, a friend persuaded him to bring in a few jars just for fun. Among the hundreds of coins, an appraiser with a keen eye spotted a 2,000 penny with unusual coloring and weight. After months of authentication, metallurgical analysis, and consultation with experts, the coin was determined to be a mint-state error struck on a leftover 95% copper planchet with a double die obverse. It weighed 3.11 grams, the old standard. News broke, collectors lined up, and the bidding war began. The janitor's life changed overnight when the coin sold for over $65 million in a private sale brokered by an elite numismatic investment group. He used the money to retire, support his grandchildren's education, and donate to local schools, the very buildings he had spent his life cleaning. It's not just individual coins that make the 2001 cent piece extraordinary, it's the cultural and historical backdrop as well. The year 2000 marked a new millennium, a moment filled with both optimism and anxiety. Y2K fears gripped the world as people worried that computers would fail when the date rolled over. At the same time, America was booming technologically, with the dot-com bubble reaching its peak and people imagining a digital utopia just around the corner. Against this backdrop, the simple penny remained unchanged, a symbol of continuity in an age of transformation. That contrast makes the coin even more compelling. In a year defined by high-tech dreams and global uncertainty, the U.S. Mint continued producing pennies with the same portrait that had graced the coin since 1909. It's a poetic juxtaposition that only deepens the coin's mythos. Collectors often ask how to identify whether they might have one of the rare and valuable 2000 Lincoln cents. There are several key steps. First, weigh the coin on a precision digital scale. A standard 2000 penny made of zinc and copper plating should weigh exactly 2.5 grams. If your coin weighs more, particularly around 3.1 grams, that is a massive red flag indicating it may have been struck on an older copper planchet. Second, examine the date, mint mark, and lettering under strong magnification. Look for signs of doubling, particularly around the date, the word Liberty, and Lincoln's profile. Third, evaluate the overall condition. A coin in uncirculated or mint state condition is exponentially more valuable than one that has been heavily worn. Fourth, consult with professional graders and authentication services like PCGS or NGC. They can provide certification, which is essential for high-value transactions. And finally, track auction results and connect with other collectors, especially through reputable coin forums, shows, and online communities, to stay informed about new discoveries and pricing trends. The meteoric rise in the value of the 2001 cent coin has also created a new wave of forgeries, which is why authentication is more important than ever. Sophisticated counterfeiters have attempted to recreate error coins by altering mint marks, artificially doubling features, or modifying weights. However, experts can often spot these fakes through microscopic analysis, metallurgical testing, and strike pattern studies. A legitimate $1 million coin must pass multiple layers of scrutiny, which is why provenance, certification, and expert opinion are non-negotiable components of any serious coin transaction. Meanwhile, the market continues to evolve. Collectors who once focused only on older coins, like 19th century gold pieces or colonial currency, are now paying top dollar for modern cents with extreme rarity. The 2000 penny stands as a gateway for a younger generation of numismatists, who might not have access to the resources needed to chase rarer historic coins. For just 1 cent, or maybe a few dollars at a garage sale, someone can potentially stumble upon a treasure worth millions. The democratization of coin collecting is one of the most exciting trends in modern numismatics, and it all stems from stories like the one surrounding this tiny, copper-colored legend. And still, questions remain. Could there be more of these $1,000,000 2,000 pennies out there, sitting in drawers, jars, or cash registers? Could other varieties exist that have yet to be discovered? The possibility fuels an ongoing search, not just among seasoned professionals, but among everyday people. Parents check their kids' piggy banks. Cashiers scan their till. People all over the world, from New York to Tokyo, are suddenly fascinated by something they once ignored. The penny, once a nearly obsolete coin, is now the centerpiece of a numismatic renaissance. As the legend of the 2001 coin continues to spread, the coin collecting world becomes increasingly obsessed with tracking every known specimen, analyzing variations, and debating values in real time. Online auction platforms have seen dramatic spikes in listings for 2,000 pennies, with hopeful sellers describing their coins as rare errors or unsearched treasures. While most are ordinary cents with minimal value beyond their face worth, the rush is part of what makes this moment in numismatics so exciting. It's not just about finding a $1,000,000 coin, it's about being part of something larger, a shared search across generations, cultures, and borders. Many experts point to the cultural nostalgia surrounding the Lincoln cent as one of the reasons the 2000 version holds such mystique. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909, longer than any other U.S. coin design. For over a century, it has been a constant in American life, passed from hand to hand, found in the pockets of soldiers, students, immigrants, and presidents. The face of Abraham Lincoln, immortalized in copper and zinc, has witnessed world wars, civil rights movements, the moon landing, the internet revolution, and more. And as America changed, so did the penny, subtly, sometimes invisibly, but always reflecting the times in which it was struck. The transition to the zinc core in 1982 was one such reflection. It signaled the rising cost of copper, the inflationary pressures of the 1980s, and the government's need to adapt production to economic realities. For collectors, this change introduced new complexity. Suddenly, coins from the same year could be found in two different compositions, copper and zinc. That duality became the foundation for identifying transitional errors in subsequent years, including in the year 2000. As mentioned earlier, a penny from 2000 struck accidentally on a leftover copper planchet from pre-1982 stock becomes instantly noteworthy. It creates a direct link between two different coinage eras, merging the old and the new into a single rare artifact. But it's not just composition that drives the mania. It's also aesthetics. Collectors are drawn to the visual beauty of certain errors, the bold lines of a double date, the dramatic misalignment of an off-center strike, the mirrored surfaces of a proof coin struck on a circulation die. The human brain is wired to recognize patterns, and when a pattern is broken, especially on something as standardized as a coin, it captures attention. A regular penny is so familiar that we barely notice it. But a distorted one makes us pause. It invites questions. Is it real? Is it rare? Could it be valuable? That moment of uncertainty is where fascination begins. The economic dynamics around the 2001 coin also reflect broader trends in collectibles markets. In recent years, alternative assets like coins, sports cards, vintage toys, and NFTs have gained enormous popularity. Fueled by online marketplaces, social media hype, and pandemic-era stimulus spending, people began to look for value in places they hadn't before. For many, it started as a hobby. But as prices soared, it quickly became an investment strategy. In this landscape, coins like the rare 2000 Lincoln cent are not just pieces of metal, they're portable, tangible wealth. Their physical history you can hold in your hand, trade, insure, and even pass down through generations. Private investment groups and high-end collectors now employ full-time numismatic advisors. These professionals track auctions, assess condition grades, evaluate market timing, and secure historic pieces for multi-million-dollar portfolios. In their eyes, a coin like the rare 2000 error cent is more than a collector's item. It's a blue-chip investment. And because the coin is so rare, so few in the world have ever surfaced, the competition to own one becomes fierce. It's no longer about the intrinsic value of the metal, which is less than a cent, but about the story, the status, and the speculative potential it carries. One of the most astounding developments in the story of the 2000 penny is the case of a museum-backed acquisition. In 2023, a major historical institution announced it had acquired a certified rare error 2001 cent coin to display in its American currency and culture exhibit. The exhibit aimed to educate the public about how money reflects national identity, policy shifts, and technological change. Visitors were stunned to see such a small coin protected under bulletproof glass, surrounded by climate controls and security. But the plaque told the full story. A coin once worth only 1 cent, now valued at over $65 million, not just for its rarity, but for what it represents. A mistake turned into treasure, a forgotten object now elevated to icon status. School children walked past the display in awe. Parents snapped photos. Elders told stories of their own coin hunting days. And quietly, more people began looking through their own jars and drawers at home, wondering if they too might be harboring a piece of history without even knowing it. The museum reported that after the exhibit launched, attendance surged, and emails from amateur collectors flooded their inbox. People asking how to evaluate their coins, how to tell real from fake, and how they too might make a discovery. There's also been growing academic interest in coins like the 2001 cent piece. University historians and economists now use coins as teaching tools, symbols of economic policy, industrial processes, and political messaging. A penny might seem trivial, but it speaks volumes about inflation, manufacturing, consumer behavior, and even patriotism. Lincoln's image, paired with the words, "In God we trust, liberty," and "E pluribus unum," becomes more than decoration. It's ideology embedded in metal. The coin, in this way, is a cultural artifact as much as a monetary one. At the same time, the rise of high-profile coin sales has drawn the attention of documentaries and investigative journalists. A feature-length film currently in development aims to chronicle the life cycle of the most expensive known 2000 Lincoln cent, from its minting to its circulation, its discovery, and its record-breaking sale. Interviews with mint employees, historians, collectors, and even the janitor who once unknowingly possessed the legendary coin help paint a picture of how one small error can ripple across time and markets. The film's producers promise a story filled with suspense, historical insight, and emotional resonance, a true tale of ordinary objects and extraordinary outcomes. The public's response to these stories has created a wave of coin education like never before. YouTube creators, TikTok influencers, and Instagram curators have launched entire channels dedicated to modern U.S. coins. They analyze strikes, test weights, and explore every angle of the Lincoln cent. Millions of viewers are learning how to identify errors, how to handle coins safely, and how to avoid scams. For many, this content is not only educational, it's exciting. It turns everyday people into treasure hunters, and even children into budding numismatists. And behind all this buzz remains the same humble penny, the 2000 Lincoln cent, gleaming slightly red under the right light, smooth from circulation or razor-sharp in uncirculated mint state. Each one is a mystery. Each one could be ordinary or extraordinary. And that possibility is what keeps people searching. For every jar emptied, every coin flipped over, every tiny date inspected with a magnifying lens, there's a heartbeat of hope. Could this be the one? Could this be the next $65 million find? The market continues to respond to demand. Auction houses now feature Lincoln cents as headline lots. Coin grading services are backed up with submissions. prices for verified error coins continue to climb. And perhaps most importantly, the story of the 2000 penny has reignited interest in the value of physical currency itself. At a time when society is moving rapidly toward digital payments, contactless transactions, and cryptocurrency, even as some experts debate whether the penny should be phased out due to production costs, stories like this preserve its legacy. To eliminate the penny would be to erase one of the most iconic and storied coins in American history. The 2000 Lincoln cent, in particular, is a living counterargument, a testament to how even the smallest, most overlooked item in your change could carry a lifetime's worth of value, meaning, and impact. While the spotlight remains firmly on the ultra-rare, multi-million-dollar version of the 2000 Lincoln cent, the surrounding universe of lesser-known variants also contributes to its legendary status. Some of these include minor double dies, repunched mint marks, and planchet flaws that, although not valued in the tens of millions, still fetch remarkable sums and stir immense excitement in collector circles. One such variation is the 2000 wide AM reverse, where the letters A and M in America are spaced further apart than usual. This rare design quirk was originally meant for proof coins only, but a small number of circulation strikes from Philadelphia mistakenly used the proof reverse die. As a result, the wide AM cent became a sleeper collectible, now known to be worth thousands in mint state condition. Conversely, the closed AM variety was intended for business strikes and became a rarity on some proofs. These subtle variations, while often requiring magnification to detect, carry enormous implications for collectors who have trained their eyes to recognize them instantly. When even the spacing between two letters on the reverse can determine whether a coin is worth 1 cent or $1,000, it's clear that numismatics is as much a science as it is an art. In the highly specialized world of coin grading, the 2000 Lincoln cent serves as a perfect example of how condition, rarity, and demand intersect. Grading services like the Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, and the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, have developed standardized 70-point scales, where a coin graded MS-70, mint state 70, is considered flawless. Most 2000 pennies found in pocket change or circulation hover in the MS-60 to MS-64 range, with higher grades requiring pristine surfaces, sharp strike details, and complete luster without contact marks or discoloration. Coins graded MS-67 or above are extraordinarily scarce, especially when they also exhibit rare errors or anomalies. Take, for instance, a 2000 wide AM cent graded MS-68 red by PCGS, a real coin that once sold for over $5,000 at auction. The high grade, rare reverse variety, and brilliant red color all contributed to its value. That same coin in MS-63 brown, with minor wear and oxidation, might sell for only $50. This enormous spread underscores the importance of condition. It also explains why collectors are willing to pay premiums for professionally slabbed and graded coins, which come with a barcode, serial number, and full certification for authenticity and quality. As this attention grows, grading has become not just a technical process, but also an investment strategy. Investors now submit bulk coin rolls, sometimes thousands of coins, hoping that even a single example earns a high grade or exhibits an overlooked error. Entire businesses have formed around the model of roll hunting, cherry picking, and reselling certified coins. For many, the 2000 Lincoln cent is the cornerstone of this strategy, a coin recent enough to be accessible, yet mysterious enough to yield massive payoffs. Meanwhile, coin shows and expos across the country continue to report record attendance. Collectors bring their finds to booths for evaluation, and in many cases, buyers make on-the-spot offers for coins that are authenticated as rare variants. Stories abound of ordinary individuals who walk into a show with a coffee tin of pennies and walk out with thousands of dollars after an expert spots a unique piece. This phenomenon is not limited to seasoned collectors. Often, it is first-timers, retirees, school kids, or casual hobbyists who uncover these hidden gems. The accessibility of the Lincoln cent is its greatest strength. Everyone has held one, but few have studied them deeply. Adding to the fervor is the increasing role of technology in coin discovery. Smartphone attachments now allow users to take magnified images of their coins with astonishing clarity. Apps can estimate a coin's grade, compare known errors, and even simulate the appearance of rare variants for training purposes. Online marketplaces, forums, and grading databases make it possible to research sales histories, read expert commentary, and post photos for instant feedback from the global collecting community. In this way, coin collecting has transitioned from dusty attics and private vaults to a living, digital space open to all. And yet, the physical coin, the actual artifact, remains the centerpiece of it all. It's impossible to overstate the symbolic power of the Lincoln cent in American culture. From grade school vending machines to presidential exhibits, the penny represents a kind of shared experience across generations. People of all ages recall finding pennies on sidewalks and hearing the old saying, "Find a penny, pick it up, and all day long you'll have good luck." Now, that phrase takes on new meaning, as the luck of discovering a 2000 Lincoln cent with an ultra-rare error could change someone's life overnight. For a few lucky individuals, that old superstition became a financial miracle. Then, there is the question of future value. Some numismatists believe that the 2001 cent coin, especially in its rarest forms, has not yet reached its peak. As awareness grows and more collectors enter the market, demand could continue to drive prices higher. Limited supply, especially for authenticated mint-state errors, creates a situation where bidding wars are not only possible but likely. If even one more example of the famous $65 million error cent were to surface, it could break the previous record, or possibly be the first U.S. cent coin to reach a valuation above $100 million. In such a scenario, the humble penny would become a financial instrument rivaling fine art, classic cars, and diamonds in terms of prestige and collectability. This growing market has even caught the attention of financial institutions. Some private wealth advisors now include collectible coins in diversified portfolios for ultra-high net worth individuals. These advisors monitor coin auctions, consult with grading firms, and ensure proper storage in climate-controlled vaults. For them, rare coins like the 2001 cent piece are not sentimental items. They are appreciating assets with proven return potential. The market data backs this up. Over the past 20 years, key-date U.S. coins have consistently outperformed many traditional investments, including gold, real estate, and even some stock indices. The 2000 Lincoln cent is increasingly seen as one of the crown jewels in this class. Perhaps most fascinating of all is the philosophical dimension this coin presents. What does it mean that something originally worth 1 cent, the lowest monetary denomination, can become one of the most coveted artifacts in American culture? How does the value of a coin transcend its original purpose? In one sense, it's about economics, supply, demand, and rarity. But in another, deeper sense, it's about transformation, how ordinary things become extraordinary through time, chance, and discovery. The 2001 cent coin reminds us that value is not always intrinsic. It's often contextual. It's not just the metal, the date, or the mint mark, it's the story. And in the story of this penny, we find echoes of American innovation, imperfection, and perseverance. The emotional pull behind the 2001 cent coin is perhaps more powerful than even its astronomical value. At its core, it is a story of discovery, of hope, and of unexpected reward. For every person who has ever struggled financially, every collector who dreamed of finding something extraordinary, and every curious soul who wondered what secrets lay hidden in the smallest of places, this coin represents the possibility that the most valuable things in life are often the most overlooked. There's something profoundly poetic about a single cent, a coin so common it's practically invisible, suddenly becoming an object of desire worth millions. And the effect it has had on people, families, communities, and the entire numismatic world is something that can't be measured in dollars alone. Collectors often speak about their first encounter with a special coin not in terms of profit, but in terms of feeling. The weight in the hand, the slight difference in tone or color, the flash of something unusual. That small moment when something clicks, when your brain tells you that this coin, unlike the thousands you've handled before, is different. That moment is what people chase. It's a thrill, a rush, and a sense of purpose all wrapped into a simple act of observation. And when that act results in the discovery of a 2001 cent error coin worth tens of thousands, or in the most extreme and legendary case, $65 million, it validates years, sometimes decades, of quiet dedication. The most celebrated stories often come from the most unexpected places. There was a teenager in Texas who had a hobby of checking loose change from vending machines at his school. Every day during lunch, while his friends bought snacks and ignored the coins that dropped, he would collect any strays. One day, he found a 2,000 penny that looked slightly thicker than normal. Intrigued, he took it home and weighed it using a cheap jewelry scale his mother used for crafts. It read 3.11 grams, a red flag that it might have been struck on a copper planchet. The coin also had clear doubling on the date and lettering. He posted pictures online, where it quickly gained attention. After professional grading and authentication, it was confirmed to be one of the rarest known transitional error coins. Though not the famous $65 million cent, this teenager sold it at auction for over $45,000, enough to pay for college. That coin, pulled from a school vending machine, changed the course of his life forever. Another case involved an elderly woman in Pennsylvania who had saved every coin she ever received in a coffee can under her kitchen sink. She never spent her change, not out of any collector's instinct, but because she believed in saving every penny. After she passed away, her granddaughter inherited the house and found over 20 cans filled with coins. One of the cans, when poured out onto the kitchen table, contained several dozen pennies from the year 2000. One, in particular, caught the granddaughter's eye. It looked brighter, the edges crisper. On a whim, she took it to a coin shop. That visit led to a cascade of events: authentication, grading, a bidding war, and finally, a life-changing sale. The coin was another of the famous double-die, copper planchet errors, a coin so rare that its appearance shocked the numismatic world. The granddaughter used the money to pay off debt, donate to a local animal shelter, and establish a scholarship fund in her grandmother's name. What these stories have in common is that none of them came from established collectors with million-dollar vaults. They came from ordinary people, students, janitors, retirees, and everyday families, who happened to notice something different. This is part of the mythology that surrounds the 2001 cent coin. It is democratic. It does not require wealth, education, or insider access. It only requires observation, patience, and a bit of luck. But as with any object of great value and fame, myths and rumors have flourished around this coin. There are whispered stories of a mint employee who intentionally struck a batch of error coins as part of a personal fortune-making scheme. There are online videos claiming that coins with certain surface discolorations are guaranteed to be rare errors, despite no evidence to support it. There are even urban legends about buried jars of 2,000 pennies hidden in backyards, left behind by paranoid collectors who believe that the government would someday confiscate rare coins. Most of these tales are exaggerations, distortions, or outright fabrications. But they persist because they feed into the dream, The dream that treasure might be closer than we think. In reality, the U.S. Mint operates under extremely strict procedures, and the idea of large-scale intentional error production is not only implausible but illegal. Genuine mint errors, especially valuable ones, are almost always the result of unintentional mechanical failure, human oversight, or rare transitional circumstances. Still, these rumors serve a function. They keep the excitement alive. They keep people looking. Collectors and researchers have cataloged every known variety of the 2001 cent coin, creating reference guides, digital archives, and full photo indexes of error characteristics. Some coins display slight die cracks, where aging or damaged dies leave raised lines across the coin's surface. Others show evidence of die polishing, where mint workers attempted to fix a die and accidentally erased parts of the design. A few even exhibit rotation errors, where the obverse and reverse do not align when flipped. Each of these has value, especially in pristine condition. And while they don't reach into the $1 million range, they adapt to the ecosystem of the 2000 cent, supporting the central legend while expanding its footprint. There's also a psychological component to this phenomenon. Humans are natural collectors. We seek order, rarity, and identity through objects. Coin collecting satisfies all three impulses. A collection can be organized by year, mint mark, design, composition, or value. It offers the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of discovery, and the pride of ownership. And when one tiny coin explodes into public awareness as a multimillion-dollar artifact, it validates the entire endeavor. It says, this hobby matters. It says, your effort, your attention to detail, your hours spent poring over change, they can pay off. In schools and libraries, coin programs are being introduced to teach students about history, math, and economics through currency. The 2000 Lincoln cent is often used as a centerpiece, a dramatic example of how a simple object can carry such immense value and narrative. Students are encouraged to bring coins from home, to weigh them, study them, and learn about minting processes and American symbolism. The lessons go beyond coins. They teach curiosity. They teach patience. They teach that value isn't always what it seems on the surface. Even within the U.S. Mint itself, the story of the 2000 penny has prompted internal review and historical reflection. Retired mint workers have come forward to share their stories about what production was like in the year 2000, the systems, the technology, the atmosphere in the facilities. Some speak with pride, others with surprise that any errors at all escaped the Mint's rigorous protocols. Their insights have led to a richer understanding of how these coins came into being, and why they continue to fascinate decades later. As the story of the 2001 cent coin deepens, the role of professional grading companies becomes even more central to how these coins are valued, authenticated, and traded in the modern market. Without expert grading and encapsulation, the true worth of an error coin can be difficult to verify, and easy for fakes to circulate. Two of the most trusted grading institutions in the numismatic world are PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company. These companies have strict criteria for coin evaluation, including surface preservation, luster, strike sharpness, color classification, and error categorization. When a rare 2000 penny goes through their grading system, it is examined under magnification, weighed, measured, and studied for both mechanical precision and minting anomalies. A high grade, particularly mint state 68 or above, is not just a number, it's a ticket into the highest levels of coin collecting. Once encapsulated in a tamper-proof holder with a certification number and barcode, the coin becomes traceable, insurable, and tradable on the global collector market. The presence of the grading label removes guesswork and significantly boosts confidence among buyers. In the case of error coins, an additional designation is often included on the label, such as double die obverse, struck on copper planchet, or off-center strike. These designations validate what collectors believe they've found, and without them, values can drop dramatically. Yet, for all the science and structure that grading brings to the industry, the market for rare coins, particularly legendary ones like the 2000 Lincoln cent, is also shaped by intangibles. Market psychology, scarcity perception, collector sentiment, and media attention all play huge roles in value. A coin can be technically rare, but if no one is interested, it may stagnate in value. The reverse is also true. A coin with intense media coverage and cultural appeal can reach astronomical prices simply because it becomes iconic. The 2000 cent has now crossed into that category. It is no longer just a rare coin. It is a mythological object in the coin world, a once-in-a-generation discovery that continues to influence behavior across the market. The science behind the coin is also critical to understanding how such a mistake could happen in the first place. A standard post-1982 Lincoln cent is made of a zinc core plated with a thin layer of copper, resulting in a total copper content of about 2.5%. This bimetallic structure weighs approximately 2.5 grams. Pre-1982 pennies, on the other hand, were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. When a transitional error occurs, a copper planchet is accidentally used in place of a zinc one. This could be due to old blanks left in the hopper from previous years, an improperly cleaned press chamber, or a failure in the metal sorting process. Because copper is denser, the coin is slightly thicker, and its distinctive weight gives it away to anyone with a precise digital scale. Other chemical differences can be detected through metallurgical analysis, including X-ray fluorescence tests that reveal composition without damaging the coin. Serious collectors and dealers often use these tools to verify high-value pieces, especially when preparing for auction. Coins found to contain more copper than expected or struck on foreign metal planchets are typically submitted immediately for third-party certification. Only once a coin is slabbed and certified by PCGS or NGC can it be confidently introduced to the high-end market, where buyers may be investing tens of thousands, or in the case of the famous $65 million error, tens of millions. That $65 million figure is not an accident. It didn't just emerge out of thin air. It was the result of several market forces converging: extreme rarity, perfect timing, strong provenance, and competitive bidding among collectors who specialize in irreplaceable artifacts. Private sales at this level often involve anonymous buyers and brokers, and the full details may never be released to the public. But when a coin fetches such a staggering amount, word travels fast. It creates what experts call a market halo effect, where even lesser examples from the same coin type suddenly increase in demand. The result? Coin shows begin seeing floods of 2000 dated pennies. Online marketplaces report spikes in searches. Grading companies receive higher than usual submissions for that year. And the broader collector economy, from casual hobbyists to institutional investors, becomes galvanized. There's also a speculative aspect that drives value. Just like in the art world or vintage car auctions, people are not only buying for passion, they're buying for potential. If one 2000 cent could be worth $65 million, what could another fetch in a decade? Could the market go higher? Could the fame surrounding the coin increase further through documentaries, museum exhibits, or educational campaigns? These are the questions serious investors ask themselves. And because the supply of such coins is fixed, perhaps fewer than 5 or 6 verified examples with comparable error types, the scarcity pressure alone drives bidding activity to astonishing levels. Outside the elite auction circles, average collectors are also benefiting. A 2000 Lincoln cent with a minor double die may sell for $50 to $100 ungraded, but that same coin in mint state, fully certified, can reach $1,000 or more. Collectors who are willing to learn, test, and verify their coins often make meaningful profits. Entire YouTube channels and blogs have sprung up to support these grassroots efforts, some teaching grading techniques, others analyzing daily eBay listings, and still others focusing solely on the Lincoln Cent series. It has become a vast community, connected by technology but rooted in a timeless pursuit, the love of the hunt. Within that community, stories continue to emerge. One man in Ohio found a 2000 error cent with a strong reverse clash, an imprint from the obverse die that accidentally marked the back of the coin during a malfunction. It gave Lincoln's bust a ghost-like echo behind the memorial building, an eerie effect that fascinated collectors. The coin was graded MS-66 by NGC and sold at a Midwest auction for $28,000. Another collector in Florida discovered a cent with a partial brockage, a rare condition where a previously struck coin fails to eject and leaves a deep, mirrored impression on the next coin. The distorted face of Lincoln appeared twice, overlapped, and created a surreal and highly prized effect. That coin, too, reached the five-figure mark once verified and graded. And then, there are the coins that remain unknown. Coins that sit in change jars, wrapped rolls, piggy banks, and desk drawers across America and beyond. Coins that may possess an error, a weight anomaly, or a die variation that could make them incredibly valuable. But unless someone checks, weighs, and studies them, they remain dormant. That's what makes the story of the 2001 cent coin so electric. The idea that the next big discovery hasn't happened yet. It could be in a child's lunchbox, in a cashier's till, in a forgotten box of keepsakes in someone's attic. That's the magic of coin collecting. The idea that discovery is always just around the corner.